One of the inventions that's hard for modern engineers to reproduce is the hand. The human hand is something that is so profound because how it's able to manage different types of objects. You see, our hand has these fat cells and these bones within it, ligaments, that are able to create different types of pressure points in the hand. So if I were to take something like a hammer, for example, and when I grip that hammer with my hand is able to form around the actual shape of the hammer in order to hold it in place. And as I strike down with the hammer, my hand, with the function of my brain, is able to create different points of pressure in order to keep the hammer steady and able to hit the nail on the head. And I can do that with so much force and so quickly that my hand then at those particular moments is able to make those shifts around the hammer. But those same hands that God has given us is also able to carry a newborn child as it comes into this world. Not to hold that newborn baby as we would a hammer with such fierce grip, but to hold the baby so delicately within our hands that we allow our hands to form itself around the baby's body and to hold it with such care. In our own lives, how is it that we handle others? You know, the Bible tells us that Jesus dealt with sinners and those that were outcasts of society, those that were hungry and sick and poor, and he dealt with them so delicately and in such a way that people were drawn to him. At the same time, there were the elite of society, those that were held in utmost respect, and sometimes he dealt firmly with them in order to break their hardened hearts. As we do ministry within our own realms of influence, I wonder, are we able to have the spiritual maturity to be able to handle different types of people with different types of approaches? Sometimes it requires care and fragility for us to be able to softly put our hands around a person in order to care for them. Other times it may require a little more firmness in order to reach that hardened soul. Likewise, in our own families, are parents able to not just say, well, I was brought up this way, and so I'm going to use that same kind of plan for bringing up my own child. And if I have 3 kids, I'm going to do with them all exactly the same. Well, that may not be the more mature thing to do. As our hands are, we may have to be able to learn how to use different approaches for different children that require different types of care. The Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, Paul says, I have become all things to all men, that by all means I might save some. I pray as you see your hands each day and you see how they handle different types of things that may come your way during the day and how they're able to move and fashion themselves around it, that you would have a heart that is willing to learn how to fashion yourselves around others. Not to give up your principles, but to use different approaches in order to bring people to the gospel. And when you're handling even your own family, that you would have the maturity to be able to learn what each child needs, and that you are able to fashion your hands around them appropriately, not trying to put a circular object into a square hole or a square object into a circular hole, but that you will fashion your hands in order to bring others closer to Christ. Are you willing to become all things to all men, that by all means you might save some?